May 31st, 2025, I made the most insane offer on my Instagram story. I said that I would help one person guaranteed make at least $10,000 a month, and I would help them build out all their systems. I would actually build it out all for them, teach them how it works, and let them keep it. And if they didn't make over $10,000 in a month, then I would give them all their money back. Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I actually delivered on that promise for one of my clients. He actually just hit his first $10,000 month this month in February. So if this is your first time here, my name is Nick. I run an online consulting company helping sports coaches grow and scale their coaching businesses online so that way they can create more freedom, help more athletes, make more money, and overall live a better life. If you're a returning subscriber, you guys are going to absolutely appreciate this video. We got an absolute banger for you. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video. To start off, I want to talk about where this client was. Previously, this client had gone through my program already and didn't really take any action on it, right? But fortunately enough, they did already have an online coaching program in place. They were just using it for hybrid. And they came to me and they were like, look, I want to have a lot more freedom. I don't want to have to give so many lessons. I want to actually be able to coach athletes from anywhere in the world. He just had a daughter and now he's got another one on the way. And so he wants to be a lot more present in their life. So he's like, dude, tell me what to do. We'll do anything, right? And so when he came to me, he already had an Instagram. He already had an online coaching program. He had athletes in person, but he wanted to make $10,000 a month coaching strictly online. So the first thing that we needed to do is set what I want to call the organic foundation. Now, this is probably going to be the most boring part of the entire video because the organic foundation is absolutely necessary to be able to create a consistent, repeatable, predictable process that brings new online coaching athletes into your ecosystem every single month, right? And I'll get into how specifically we can create something consistent and repeatable. But first, we need an organic foundation, okay? So we need to think about our Instagram page like a landing page on a website, okay? And so on a landing page on a website, the most important thing on that site is whatever pops up whenever you first click on that link, okay? It's this old marketing term called above the fold. So I'm gonna kind of map out what your Instagram profile needs to look like. This is more or less what an Instagram profile looks like, okay? And I'm gonna map out what each of these, what are they called? Traits or whatever each of these elements actually are, okay? Starting with the profile picture. So what most people don't understand is that your Instagram profile picture actually has a big impact on how people perceive you. And so what we did with his Instagram profile picture is make sure that it was a clean picture showing him in an authority space. It was him playing baseball in college. He's a baseball coach, right? And so it's him playing baseball in college. Then we got to optimize the Instagram bio, okay? Most people's Instagram bios are absolutely terrible. The reason why the bio is so important and the reason why this foundation is so important is we want to think about your Instagram page as a landing page. So that way, whenever somebody clicks on your profile and they come to your page, they immediately can know, is this for me or is this not, right? So we want to have an I help statement right here at the top. I have tons of other videos talking about that. Then we want to have some sort of credibility. Okay, then we can have, I don't know, something else that you stand for. But most importantly, we want to have a DM CTA. Okay, so there's like a couple different variations of the bio. I have plenty of videos on this channel talking about that. Or if you just want to see what my clients are doing, like you can literally go look at their profiles as well. You can look at my profile. Okay, but the bio should immediately tell us, who am I? Who do I help? Why should I listen to you? What should I do if I want to learn more? And so the DM CTA is basically just saying, DM me if you want to learn more. Now, These buttons are just standard on the profile, the follow or the message button. Now, this button right here is very important. This is a link to a video, otherwise known as a video sales letter. You can host it on YouTube, you can host it on a landing page. This video is going to be the one video that if the person only watched that one video, they would know everything about you, your story, and how you can help and how your program works. So that way they can book a call with you, okay? So we want that video to be in the link. Then we want to optimize the Instagram story highlights, right? So we're going to be posting on our Instagram story pretty much every single day, and we want to optimize these highlights so that way really, really quick, somebody can come to your profile and learn a little bit more. Like we want to show client results. We want to show our story there. We want to show our personal life. And then, maybe a little bit about how the program works. Okay. So that way a brand new person can come to your page and get all this information right away. Then we have these little pin posts right at the top. And we want the flow of it to be like this. My story here. Okay. Proof. And a direct call to action. So my story, there's a bunch of, honestly, that's the video that probably gets the most amount of views from any of my clients, right? Is the my story video. And it's just like, hey, this is my background. This is who I am. And then the proof is why you should listen to me. So usually it's like how you helped an athlete, or it's like how you were able to get more result. Then a direct call to action, which is calling out exactly who we want to work with. If they want to get a specific outcome, this is what to do next. It's usually like a comment, like comment this keyword, and then I'll reach out to you. So we set up this organic foundation together so that way he can have a profile, because essentially what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create an ecosystem that when his ideal athlete lands on this page, immediately he goes, boom, that's my guy. Okay? So that's the boring part, but nothing else that I'm going to talk about in this video is going to matter at all if we didn't do this first. Okay? Now, once we had that organic foundation, my client didn't really make great content, so we made sure that the profile was optimized, that we had everything in place, and then he started making really good organic content that was targeted for his specific type of athlete. Once we were getting a good response from the people, and we made let's say 1 or 2 sales strictly from organic, this is what we did next. So we started running paid advertising, and we had paid ads plus content inside of a very, very, very basic marketing and sales funnel, okay? So if you watch any of my videos, you know I talk a lot about having a marketing funnel, but this is essentially what we did, okay? So we started running follow ads and DM ads, plus we made some viral type of reels, okay? And so what I mean by follow and DM ads, basically there's a way that you can run ads on Instagram where you say, hey, if you're this type of person and you want to get this outcome, give me a follow. They click on your profile, and then when they click on the ad, it'll take them directly to your Instagram profile. That is why setting up the organic foundations is so important. So that way when an absolute stranger clicks on that follow ad, they've never seen you before, and they click on your profile, immediately they can get a snapshot of who you are, and they're making a decision, do I follow this person or do I not, right? And as soon as they follow you, now they're in your ecosystem, and we can reach out to them. We can nurture them with our content every single day. We could post on our stories, right? Or we can run DM ads where we get people directly into the inbox, right? And those can be super beneficial as well. And most importantly, to supplement the ads, because all the ads are is we're just paying for reach, right? We're making viral type of content. So as we started to make more and more and more organic content, we realized that there were certain videos that got a lot more views than others. So what we tried to do is dial in very specifically, okay, what are the elements of these videos that make them get more views, and how can we slightly tailor them more and more and more towards our ideal athlete, right? And so now we have three main drivers of people coming inbound to the ecosystem. From there, we are making content every single day that is designed to build trust with the new people coming inbound to the ecosystem, right? So this can be things like carousels, reels, like talking head reels, personal posts, and Instagram stories. Essentially what we're trying to do here is we're trying to take somebody who's an absolute stranger and warm them up really, really, really fast with a bunch of content that we have already on our page and the content that we're posting every single day. So the more they see our face, the more they hear us talk, the more they hear our message, the more they're going to trust us, right? So we already had the organic foundation of content, okay? It's very important to note we already had this organic foundation of content. All we did was we just poured a little bit of gas on the fire by making more viral videos, getting people coming inbound, and then had the follow and DM ads to get more awareness and more attention. Then, once we already had the content, it becomes very easy to get people to reach out to us. That is what we want. We don't want to sit there and send messages all day long to a bunch of people who never want to buy, right? That doesn't make any sense. That sucks. That sounds like a terrible life, especially for my client who literally just had a daughter and has another one on the way, has a wife, wants to live a life of more freedom. He doesn't want to sit there, having his thumbs bleed all day long because he's messaging random people who don't want to buy, right? We're only trying to have conversations with the people who are actually interested, who we can actually help, okay? That's going to be much more efficient. It's going to be better for them. It's going to be better for you. You're going to be much more sane. It's going to be way better. So once we install this funnel, okay, where we get people coming inbound, then we nurture them with content, and then now we're DMing them, we had to actually find a way to get these people on the phone. And that is DM setting, okay? And when I say DM setting, I mean having DM conversations with people on Instagram to see if you can actually help them. This is a little off. So the biggest mistake my client was making is that he was spending time with unserious athletes. And so my client would come and he'd book a call with me. In my upper level program, you do one-on-one calls with me. And we also have a private community. And I also have a coaching program that's this will show you how to go from 0 to 10K a month coaching athletes online. If you want to check it out, you can click the link in the description. But this client was booking a one-on-one call with me and he's like, hey, let's review my conversations in the DMs. I'm like, yeah, sure. I start looking at him and I'm like, dude, this kid's 14 years old and is like, yeah, I've never had a hitting coach before. Why would you spend any time talking to that kid? He obviously doesn't value coaching, or if he does value coaching, he probably can't afford it. We need to spend our time going after the athletes who are willing to invest in coaching, who see the value, whose parents have already proven that they are willing to invest in that type of coaching, right? They're just going to be much more likely to buy the program, do the work, get good results, tell all their friends, stay with you forever, right? So his number one mistake was he was spending all of his time talking to unserious athletes. And so what I did was I just gave him permission, dude, if they're not serious, just move on to the next person. Just send them one of your YouTube videos and be like, hey, I hope this is helpful. And that's the whole reason of why we want to make such valuable free content. Right? Number one, does it not only attract people and build trust with our audience, but then number two, For the people who can't afford your full service, you're still giving away tons and tons and tons of value. Like for example, if you're a coach watching this right now, maybe you don't have the finances to afford joining my program. Maybe we've gotten on a call before. Maybe you've talked to my team before. Maybe you aren't 100% certain if you want to invest into a program to actually get to where you want to go faster, right? That's why I make these YouTube videos. And so many people don't take advantage. I could rant about that all day long. But the point is, he was spending time with people who were unserious. And so he could just send them YouTube videos and then spend the time focusing. The adjustment we made was focus. That's it. Focusing on the people who he can actually help. And then taking the conversations on Instagram and then making more content and more ads towards the people he actually wanted to work with and alienating the people that he didn't want to work with, right? One of the biggest mistakes that sports coaches make is they say, I feel like I can help everybody. Well, when you try and help everybody, you can't help anybody. When you try and help everybody, you can't help anybody, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So now, once we started focusing on the athletes who we could actually help, started getting people on sales calls. And then homeboy was like, yo, Nick, I'm taking these sales calls, but here's the problem. Nobody wants to buy. Sad face. Yeah, nobody wants to buy. He was like, dude, I feel like I'm overpriced. And he was charging like $1,500 for 6 months or like $2,000 for 6 months. I'm like, dude, I have clients that charge $3,500, $4,000 for 6 months. Like, trust me, you're not overpriced. You're just terrible at sales. And so what we started doing was we started reviewing some of these calls. What we found out, he's taking calls with only athletes. And it's like, think about this. Think about this. An athlete tells their parent that some guy on the internet asked for $2,000 to help get coached over the phone. Is that parent ever going to say yes? No, they're going to have so many questions, right? And so what we did was not only did we focus more on the serious athletes in the DMs, but we made sure that the parents would get on the call, okay? So that way on that call, the parents could have a direct conversation. And my client is a former professional baseball player. Like, he is very, very, very qualified to help these athletes, right? And he's helped a ton of people get better. So the parents just needed to have a conversation to see that he was a real human being. So we made sure that the parents got on the call. We pitched to the parents, and then all of a sudden he starts closing deals, right? Not only that, we added in a pre-call video. So that way the parents could watch this pre-call video before they get on the call. So that way the conversation that the coach had with the athlete in the DMs can be transferred through this pre-call video of like, hey, this is who I am. This is how I can help. These are all the people that I've worked with, yada, yada, yada. So that way, by the time they get on the call, the parents already somewhat trust this guy, right? And so then on the call, you can just demonstrate your expertise and talk about, this is how I can actually help your athlete, right? And so over time, he just got better and better and better at sales because he had a better process. He had more qualified people coming on the phone. He had more serious people coming on the phone who were willing to invest and had the money. They'd proven that they've invested in other things before, but they needed somebody just like him. And so he went from getting people telling him he was too expensive at $1,500 to now selling $3,000 online coaching programs, right? So that is the final thing that we did, is we did a price increase. And so a lot of people, they see my content and they're like, how are you selling a $3,000 online coaching program? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I've never worked with anybody online. I don't feel like I could do that. You don't sell a $3,000 online coaching program when you've never done it before. That is ridiculous. You're going to get a lot of people to be like, well, how many people have you ever done this before? And you're not even going to feel convicted that you can do it. So you're not going to feel 100% convicted and like, I can sell this $3,000 online coaching program. I know that it's worth it. You're not going to have that conviction within yourself to really sell the program and convince people that it's actually worth the value that you're asking for. And if you have the results will speak for themselves. So only after we went through that entire process did we jack up the price and just say, hey, it's a 6-month program, it's $3K, get people to pay in full for it. Because people will. I've seen it time and time again. And if you're skeptical, you can go ahead and watch the 50+ client interviews that I have on this channel, right? So, price increase. We went to a price increase. Now, my client had, I'm trying not to use his name to be respectful of him. Now, my client had some athletes that he was retaining over the months. So he had like a base of like, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month coming in from his previous athletes that he retained after, working with them for initial 3 months, and then they'd re-sign for 6 months. And now he can sell a $3,000 program on the front end. And today is, February 20th or February 21st, and he's already over $10,000. He might even hit $15,000 this month because now he has a higher price. He's got a client base that continue to pay him. And in the next year, he might be doing $20,000 a month, doing it all by himself with no team members, all take home, right? So this is exactly how you can go from, basically never having posted online before to making over $10,000 in a single month, coaching athletes online without spending a ton of time or doing a ton of work, right? It's going to be compounding over time. It's not about doing 15 hours of work per day. It's about doing a few hours of work every single day for an extended period of time. Now, for this client in particular, it took us, 8.5 months of working together, right? For you, it could be 2 months or it could be 2 years. It just depends on how good you are and how fast you are at implementing this process that I just took you through. And if you want my help directly, one-on-one to actually implement this process, then you can go ahead, check out the link in the description, watch the video on the next page, and apply and book a call. But if you just want to continue to learn for free on YouTube, that's cool too. That's exactly why I make these videos. So that way you guys can get a ton of value out of this, regardless of if you want the one-on-one help or not. Anyway, hopefully you guys get a ton of value out of this video. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.